Dave, y'all.
Hey, how you doing?
All right.
All right.
Hey, good to see y'all.
You too.
Yeah. It's been a minute. Y'all still dancing? I see y'all playing golf.
Oh yeah, more golfing than dancing. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So Sophia, did your husband tell you about what you were entering into, or he just said, "Hey, we doing this thing"? Well, Tony, he didn't give you no clue or nothing, huh?
No, he was like, "Oh, it's a little podcast." I'm like,
"Okay." he just ambushed you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how you guys been?
Doing good.
Good to see you.
Good.
Can't complain, man. Just been doing a lot of work. Got 3 grandchildren, all girls. So that's why I got my hat on, because my hair falling out.
Yeah. That's funny.
How's your daughter doing?
She's doing good.
Good. Yeah, so welcome to the show, Black Marriage Chronicles. Before I get started, I want to make sure Reginald, is it okay if I call you Reggie, or you prefer Reginald?
Yeah, Reggie is fine.
Reggie is fine. And Sophia, you good with Sophia? No nicknames? Sophia's good? Okay, great. Well, welcome to my show. I really appreciate it. When I reached out to your husband, he didn't even hesitate. He was like, yeah. Once I kind of gave him a little bit of background, he was like, yeah. And I love that. I want you guys to know that we don't take marriage lightly here. Like, we know it's a sacred institution. So what you're sharing here today, we hoping that it'll help and inspire others. My goal when I created this is to revive, restore, renew existing marriages, and also give people who are thinking about marriage hope that, hey, you can make it through if you put in the work. So we're gonna go over a bunch of different things. I'm gonna ask a bunch of questions. You guys kind of give us a little a little background about your marriage. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna play some games. It's kind of just so this won't be all just about questions and serious. One of the reasons I also did this is because I didn't want it to be about the fun side of marriage. You guys know, I think you told me you've been married, 6 years?
Yeah.
Yep. So it ain't always been a honeymoon. It ain't always been a honeymoon. I've been married 5 and it ain't always been a honeymoon. But again, the goal is to let people know, like, hey, once you have the wedding and the reception, that's all fine and dandy. The real work begins once that is over. And you guys you're every day dealing with one another, and you got to figure out, sometimes there's that little power dynamic struggle for who gonna do what and when, So, and I always say that you really haven't been through nothing. If people say they ain't been through nothing in their marriage, like, oh, everything is fine, then I know, like, yeah, something ain't right, y'all. It ain't right. You have to have gone through some trials and tribulations, but that's how you build. That's how you find out what you're made of, and also what your partner is made of. You know what I'm saying? Going through those trials and tribulations. So, again, before we get started, I'm going to ask a couple questions. I want you to kind of give me a background about your marriage. But I have a couple games here. All the games here are inspired by Black game artists. So I want you to kind of just give me an idea of which games you want to play. I'll give you a little background on the games if you want. So this game here is one of the ones I just recently got. It's called Urban Trivia. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So this is called Urban Trivia. We also have Tonight, Let's Talk.
Okay.
Then we have Naughty Nice.
All right.
And then we have Culture Tags.
Okay.
With this one, if you want to get a lifeline, you can. We can have somebody. I can invite somebody on, send them an invite, and they can kind of come on and help you. There's several different categories. So let me go through this one real quick. Kind of give you an idea of what the categories are in Culture Tags. So you have family and friends.
All right.
You have TV and film. You have words to live by. You have daily sayings. Black Twitter.
Oh boy.
Songs and lyrics, and then church. So out of the 4 games that I have here, I just want you guys to kind of, if you could, just let me know which one you want to play, and then we'll, as we go and have our conversation, we'll get into one of the games.
All right. Culture Tag seems like it's the most versatile, and I like the one. What was the urban one you said?
Urban Trivia.
Urban Trivia. For me, Urban Trivia and Culture Tag sound the most versatile.
Okay, now
what about you?
I need y'all gotta both decide on what we gonna do.
One of those two is good.
Are you sure?
So like
she on the urban stuff. She ain't.
So I don't even know if I have my black card right now.
Hey, Sophia, if you play any of these games, I'm snatching your black card. That's all I got.
Yeah.
I'm snatching black cards if you ain't got it together now.
Right.
So what's the Let's Talk tonight? What about?
So the Let's Talk, this one, I'll give you an example of one of the questions and you kind of go from there.
All right.
Okay.
This one, okay, so it says, how do I make you better as a person? Explain. So then that'll be like, this game is, you would kind of play it with one another. So like Reggie would ask this question to you and then you would ask this to him, and then you kind of give a little feedback. So, okay. But I'm going to ask you the questions then to you guys, and then you just answer it as if you were asking it to one another. So that's that game.
Okay. That sounds more or less like your speed.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Okay. No, okay. We can definitely go with that. So what was I going to say? So give us a little background about your marriage. Tell us how long you've been married. I want to know about the family, everything. Just go. Let's start talking.
All right. We've been married 6 years. Okay. I was about to say 7 because 7 a lucky number.
You're right.
6 years. Have a daughter. I actually have a older daughter.
Okay.
28, and then the youngest is 8. She just turned 18 this year.
Okay.
Actually, but she has special needs. So when people say your baby, or we refer to her as the baby, it's because she still needs a certain amount of care.
Gotcha.
So when people be like, "Oh, you got an 18-year-old, she's going to college," and I'm like, "Nah, that ain't quite it." So then we have to go into this whole spiel of that. But yeah, as far as kids, that's it.
Okay.
What else you want to share? How we met? We met, of course, dancing.
Okay.
She was around, I was around. We just had never crossed paths.
Okay.
Directly.
And I knew his ex-wife before I knew him.
Right.
So we were really good. I didn't even know she was married to him. Like, if I saw his name on social media, I was like, "Oh, they got the same last name. That must be her brother or something." Like, it just
that was a problem.
Right. Hey, and y'all listen, this video might go viral. We gonna get into that.
Yeah. Met dancing.
Okay.
It was a short courtship. It was just like, because I had went through a divorce a couple years prior to that, and it was so much I was learning about marriage. You know, when you go to counseling, you learn more about marriage and relationships and self-accountability. And it was more or less when we met, our discussions around relationships. She was already with, she had a mentor that teaches a wife school. And I was like, wait a minute, this sounds like some stuff that I'm actually studying and building on. And it just kind of lined up from there.
Oh, so awesome.
It was a short courtship. And
so you knew that you knew that you knew that you knew.
Yep. And then I thought I knew, right? Thought I knew more than what I did, but yeah.
Okay. And
and
what about for you, Sophia? Like, how would you describe it?
Kind of like a surprise.
Okay.
I didn't see it coming.
Okay. So when you say I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but so when you say you didn't see it coming, do you mean you weren't thinking about marriage, or like, what do you mean?
So I was actually engaged to someone else.
Okay.
And
we got a lot to unpack here. Normally I have a counselor on here, and the counselors, the relationship therapists, and they're not on here to ambush anybody, but they're on here when you guys share stuff with us to kind of break it down for my audience, for the people who are watching this, not to psychoanalyze you or lend you their skills unless you want it, but then that's something you guys will talk about online. So with that being said, go ahead and continue.
Yeah. So, and my mentor, she knew about the other gentleman, and she told me months ago that's not him. And because part of me is still stubborn, I'm just like, yeah, but I think I can make this work. But then I really had to, as I was going through that mentorship, recognize, okay, there are signs here that this isn't for me. Wasn't a bad person at all. It wasn't a good match. And so then once Reggie found out that I had broken off that engagement, he said, no more auditions. As an ode to the whispers, just say yes and I'll do the rest.
And I wasn't even considering marriage. I mean, I knew I wasn't opposed to getting married again, but it just wasn't in my it wasn't nothing I was thinking about, because that was like right after about the 2-year mark. And I said I would give myself 2 years before I start dating seriously again. So me and her dating wasn't even, we got together just to dance, for a contest. And we built the friendship from there, and then eventually a relationship. So it wasn't like, oh, I just came in like, oh, you're gonna be mine, that type of thing. It was more of an opportunity presented itself at a later time. And, and I stepped in.
Well, that's interesting. So let me just make sure I got everything correct here. Sophia, you knew his ex-wife, but you didn't know they were married at the time.
Right.
Reggie, at the time, you were engaged. So were you guys dating when you were engaged? Like, that's the part I'm a little confused about.
All right. So here's how it happened. We met. We have a mutual friend couple that we're friends with. He was actually doing a surprise proposal. So like the whole dance community was there, and our circles were there, and I got introduced to her by Derek, which was one of
I know Derek. He teaches Greystone. Yes, I know. Yeah. Okay.
And then there was talks about there was a Greystone competition. I had competed before in the ballroom category, and all the Greystone instructors wanted students to be in a contest, but it's not many people that can Greystone to the level of competing.
Right.
At least in our generation, in our age group. So Derek was like, hey, I need somebody. Will you be in a contest if I find you a partner? And we just so happen to all be sitting at the same table. And I was like, I had somebody in mind, but then he was like, no, I'm gonna have you Greystone. He called Sophie his little sis. And I was like, I told her, I said, look, I'm only doing this if you smooth, because I'm smooth. And when I get in a contest or anything I do, I'm 100% committed. So I don't, because I'm not a natural dancer. I'm not at all a natural dancer. I still have a problem staying on beat. Right? So for me, the way I make things up is my commitment to the process.
Nice.
So I said, the only way I'm gonna do this, we gotta practice 2 to 3 times a week. And she agreed to that, and Derek agreed to coach us. And then just during that process, that's how we, got closer. And then we competed in contests prior to that one. So we competed in like a smaller kind of ballroom contest, and then we would go to classes together just to get our chemistry together for the competition, pretty much.
Let me just say this for the record. These folks, he talking about he ain't smooth. I done seen them dance. So they good. Like, really, they good. And Derek and his wife Valita, I'm trying to get them on the show as well. So I'm gonna reach out to his behind. I need them on here. But don't let them fool y'all. This Mr. and Mrs. Perryman can dance they buzz off. I have seen them. And it looks like they've been dancing for more than 6 years that they've been married. So hats off to y'all. So yeah. So okay, we've been married 6 years. It sounds like you both had a little something going on at the time. You kind of got introduced to one another. So you kind of made sure that those other things were kind of completely gone before you kind of got together?
Well, I didn't have nothing going on.
Right. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, you said you were.
I was just going out. I was working.
Okay.
I was working. I was rebuilding my business life and my life from the divorce and everything. So I was just like, I mean, I would date casually, but I wasn't.
You wasn't serious about anything. And you said you weren't thinking about marriage?
Not really. I just knew it was something I would consider marriage again. I wasn't one of them people like, oh, I ain't never getting. I'm in the He-Man Women's Hater Club. Not like that. Like, no, I knew what the stability and the benefits of marriage were, right? That's why I got married in the first place.
Okay.
So, but when we initially met, that wasn't my focus.
Right.
And she wasn't my focus because she had someone, and I was just in it just for the competition at the time.
Okay.
And I won. No.
You know what? I'm on my second marriage too. So what I want to ask you is this. Mm-hmm. And this question is kind of twofold. So Sophia, when you found out he had been married before, were you hesitant? And then Reggie, when did you know that you wanted to marry her? Like you wanted to ask. So I want Sophia to go first though.
So when he decided that, or he said, well, we got to get together and we got to practice several times a week, I said, okay. And so it was that following week, he gave me the address to the house because I was coming over to his house, and I pull up and I said, hold on, this house looks familiar. I think I've been here before. And as soon as I walk in, I was like, oh my gosh, you were married guys. I never saw pictures of you in here.
So
and he was never home when I would come over.
Oh my God. So you've been missing him.
Yeah.
Wow.
So here's the thing. I don't want it to seem like that because that sounds weird. So my ex also danced. But we were in, because she got into it first. I got into it after her.
Okay.
So she had a whole different circle of friends, right? Mm-hmm. When it came, even though the dance community is small, a lot of people intertwine, but usually the circles separate based on the style of dance.
Gotcha.
I was around more of the older people, like I would go to places and I'm the youngest person there would be 65 or 70.
So right? You know Bobby Green, that's where I first met you guys at.
Right,
with Bobby,
the Greystone, Bob, and then that circle in ballroom. My ex was more to everything, but mainly she was stepping and doing, salsa, Latin hustle. Okay. So they knew each other through another mutual friend, which was Chuck. He was teaching ballroom and salsa and a number of things. But this house collectively between both of us, because she competed too, and we all performed at different events. So this house was one of the homes that when I was rehearsing for something with a group of people, we would rehearse here. When she was rehearsing for something with a group of people, they would rehearse here. And neither one of us would be home to like watch the rehearsals, or sometimes they'll be in the basement. I wouldn't know who was down there.
Okay.
So her reason for being here was because they were getting ready to perform or something together, or talk a performance. So she had been here previously. Oh, and I had no idea.
Yeah, no, this is just interesting. Like you guys were so, and then here it is, you wind up married. Like y'all were like really passing one another. Okay. Right. So then my question to you, Reggie, like when did you realize you wanted to marry her?
Probably it was a couple months in. It was just like we were talking and dating, and then like I said, the mindset was similar to what I was looking for if I was to ever get married again. Mm-hmm. And we had so many relationship discussions, and I was like, oh yeah, this is the one. Like it wasn't just like the surface level stuff. It was like, what are your beliefs, or how do you what is your religion? All of that stuff that really matters. Mm-hmm. Right. And all of that clicked. And I was like, it's going to be hard to find this again. Wow. So I was like, let me just shoot my shot and see what happens. Right. Because, the older you get, I was I was 44 at the time. No, I was 43 because we were dating a little bit and hanging out. So about 43-ish or so. And once you get past your 30s and your 40s, you know what you want, you know how to recognize it. And that's just simple. It don't take you 2 or 3 years to figure it out once you
definitely agree with you on that, Reg. My motto has always been, I feel like when you're dating, like a year or two should be more than enough time to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to be, I feel like, especially when you get, well, for men, I don't feel like we should really get married until after we like 30, 35, because we still kind of figure it out. Like really, you know what I'm saying? And I'm honest about that. Women, and I used to hate to say this, but they mature so much faster than we do. So they know early on what they want to do, whether they want to play games. Not to say that they don't have a little, recklessness in their younger days, but they know early on what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? What they want out of life. So they recognize those things a little bit earlier. We kind of slow to the party, for whatever reasons, but we're kind of slow to the party. And I always say, I feel like men, we really shouldn't, especially black men, until like we're 35. It's just a lot of things that's just going on, social factors, your environment, whatever. But we just we're not ready for that. And I had one guest on my show and he really surprised me. Like and it was just so weird. Like he's married to my cousin, but he thought about marriage early on. I was like, bro, I wasn't thinking about it's almost like in high school, this is what he was thinking about. And I'm like, really? It was so weird. But I'll tell you this, I feel like I can see through the BS. When a nigga on some BS, I feel like I can see through it. He was not on no BS. And when I tell you, I even hated for my wife to look at this because her jaw dropped. Like she was like, oh my God. Like, and he was so sincere. And I had told a couple of my friends about it. I said, you have to watch this interview. They was like, oh no, he was on some. I said, no, bro, I'm telling you, this man was sincere. This is what he always wanted to do. He was on his second marriage. And his second one, was it on the second? Yeah, I think he was on his second marriage. They both have been married before. But it was just so weird that when he was telling me about him, we were talking. I had never met anybody, especially a black man, saying, oh yeah, I always wanted to be married. Not me. I'll be honest. I wasn't thinking about it. And it took me a long time to start thinking about it. So it was I was like, wow, that's a different take. The proposal. Yeah. Do you remember it? No. I want to hear your version of the proposal.
It was never a formal proposal.
Tell me how it happened.
We just agreed, like, hey, if we're going to do this, we getting married. That was it. Now,
that was it?
The one glitch. Because, see, because of what I do for a living and then my lifestyle and everything growing up, it's like I'm not really on the fence about nothing in life. It either is or it's not.
Okay.
And then the older I got, the less patience I have. And if, like I said, once I identify what it is that I want or what I'm accepting in my life, and I evaluate things, right? And it was just like our conversations. I already knew she wanted to get married because she was engaged, but just because of the conversations we were having, I knew that was a goal and why she wanted to be married. And again, I was willing to be married, but I didn't have to be married.
Okay.
And it was just like the conversation just came up like, hey, if we're going to date, we might as well just take it to the next level. And the one glitch that did come up, we originally agreed on a date, and I was like, no, let me stop. I'm not getting married until we do premarital counseling. And I wanted to counsel with somebody that I really trusted, which was my old pastor.
Okay.
And because I respect, and I wanted them to meet her and get, sometimes you need somebody that's looking at it outside of what
objectively,
you right. And really go through it. So we pushed the date back. We hadn't really announced it to nobody because we didn't have like a big wedding and all of that. So it was we delayed that to get the proper coaching and everything, counseling, and then we end up getting married. And we only invited the people that will hold us accountable.
There you go.
It was a handful of people there, and everybody that we love, I still call everybody, and all the people that's close to us.
Okay.
And because we wasn't getting married for show, we was getting married to build something, to build a future. So that's what it was.
That's man, I got to give y'all a round of applause. Like, everybody don't take that opportunity to do that. You know what I'm saying? I can honestly say that we didn't. I mean, me and my wife definitely had some trials and tribulations, but we were able to work through some of them. So that's awesome. Like, Sophia, I want to ask you, listening to your husband talk about, because it sounds like he's very committed. When, like he said, when he makes his mind up about something, he goes for it. What are some of the things that you love about him that you made you fall in love with him? Like, I want to hear your.
Yeah, absolutely. He is my port in the storm. And the one thing that made me take notice of him was I came over for rehearsal, and he was on the phone taking care of business. I had a bad day at work. I had the whole day was just bad. And I came in, I had an attitude. He could tell I had an attitude. So when he finished his call, he's like, all right, what's going on? So I just word mom it all over the place. Tell him everything's going on. He was like, look, we're not going to do all that. We just going to do X, Y, and Z. And that's it. And I was like, oh, we're not going to do all that. We're just going to do X, Y, and Z. And that's it. Like, it was how decisive he was, how calm. He cut straight to it. And it was like, what was the point of me being super emotional over something that he just cut to the point? And I was like, you're right. Okay. So a lot of things, he's the most patient, because he says he doesn't have patience for BS, but I've seen him when people are disrespectful to him and how he approaches the situation still with dignity and doesn't have to come back with their same energy.
Okay.
He's like, listen, we're just trying to get to business, and this is what we're going to do to do that.
Okay.
And he has a level of patience in that I don't have, because I'm ready to say, okay, where are we rolling up to? Who we rolling up from? Like, how dare they talk to you like that? Like, they just have me today. They'd be all right.
You ready to kick your shoes off and pull your earrings off?
I'm trying to close a deal. I don't have patience for BS, but I have patience for the process.
Okay.
And in my business, people's emotions are part of the process. So if you can't understand that, then you won't succeed in my business. So in my work life, I tolerate a little bit more from the clients, but not from my peers, right?
Okay.
In my home life, there's just certain things. There's certain emotions I have to deal with, but some stuff is just BS, and I don't have patience for it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
I do want to. I want to circle back to the BS part.
Yeah.
But what I want to ask is, what do you guys do? So what do you do for a living? Because I know you should keep referencing your what do you do for a living? So I don't mind. You can plug. What do you do?
Go ahead.
And you both can. Like, what do you do for a living?
I'm a housewife.
Okay.
She's an author as well. She paints, but yeah. But I'm a real estate broker, and we invest in stuff like that as well.
Okay.
But when we first got married, she was still working. We planned it out. She didn't want to work, and I was fine with that.
Okay.
And that was the goal. So within the first year, she gave her papers, and like, I'm out. And but what a lot of people don't understand in marriage, you want 2-income household, you want this and that, but and that goes when you said a lot of us, our skin type, probably shouldn't get married until you're 35, because you don't really find your financial stride earlier than then. If you do, you're going to make a lot of mistakes and probably blow the bag. So part of our planning, we had to plan for that. We had to understand budgeting and managing money. But ironically, when she quit, that next year my income increased by almost what she was making a year.
Wow.
And it's been increasing ever since. So when we talk to other couples, there's a fear that, oh, we can't live off of one income. Well, it depends on what type of employment you have. Not everybody has a career where you have unlimited earning potential.
Okay.
But for us, and being a business owner, it helps me because now, I mean, my daughter, I would have to go to therapy with her twice a week. I would go to doctor's appointments, which is often, right? She has to have certain surgeries. She has, that's not including school and being here when the bus comes and all of that. And then when we looked at it, it was like, man, it is cheaper for her to stay home, right? And then you deal with, she doesn't have the stress. Like, I still remember some of her coworkers' names, and I'm like, man, like all that stress, because that stress is spilling over to your home life. That stress is spilling over to the kids and how you treat the kids,
right?
How you treat your spouse. And I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work. And if one of us is gonna be stressed, it's gonna be me.
Okay. Okay. Wow. And that's one of that is a show topic I want to go into, like when a man is the sole provider and the wife stays home, and how that whole dynamic works. So I will kind of touch on that a little bit, because I want to kind of get Sophia's perspective on it. But I find it interesting, like you said, you guys sat down and planned that out. She told you going in what she wanted to do, and you guys sat down and came up with a plan and make sure that happened. It sounded like God definitely blessed your marriage. Like you said, within that first year, you was able to make about what she was making coming in. So yeah, that's absolutely awesome. Like,
and what's funny about that is I'm frugal, but I'm the spender of the two of us, right?
Really?
Yeah, she spends on stuff. Well, she buys stuff that's practical, that's needed. But like, I'll get, like with golfing, right? I'm always looking.
Oh, golf is expensive.
Yeah, and I'm always looking for an excuse to buy something extra. And she like, you don't need that right now. But one of the things too that we discussed early on, before we even talked about getting married, just the relationship part, was money management skills, right? I don't care how much a man makes. If you got somebody that's opposite of your spending habits and pretty much just blowing the budget all the time, that's going to cause a lot of stress on the relationship.
Absolutely, yeah. So Sophia, like, how are you, like, because it was a young lady that I'm actually going to interview, and she was talking about how her husband was the sole provider, he took care of everything, and then was acting like he owned her. So you guys don't, like, so are you on an allowance? Like, how does that work?
Pretty much anything I need, I get.
Okay.
But I'm also responsible with that. So I'm not out just, like he says, I'm more frugal. Like I'm a Dollar Tree girl.
Are you frugal? Wait, okay, let me ask you this: are you frugal because your husband is the sole provider, or you were frugal anyway? That's just how you were.
I was kind of frugal anyway.
Okay.
But because I actually have a mentor, she's always telling us how we can do things with excellence and not have to break the bank.
Okay.
And because I have someone who's taking care of me, I have to be a good steward over, what he's put me responsible for.
Amen.
So if he's going to give me whatever I want, I need to recognize that that's a huge power.
Okay.
So because there were sometimes I'll say, oh, well, that's nice. And all of a sudden it magically appears in the house. So I'm like, whoa, I wasn't expecting you to buy that. I'm like, absolutely sweet.
Okay.
But it's like, okay, I don't want him breaking the bank for me when we could probably use that money for something else.
Okay.
But he's like, okay, well, what are your bills? I tell him what my bills are. We make sure that's covered. Groceries covered. There was a time when the eggs were way too high. And I think we went 2 days without me buying eggs, because I was like, we can't. He was like, you need eggs in the house.
I was like, I worked too hard not to be able to buy eggs. You
buy egg, right?
So here's the thing, though, just to explain to people that's considered. So before we So before we made that decision, I calculated what she made a year, but then I calculated how much her expenses were
Okay.
a month. Then I calculated how much money she would save on lunch, car maintenance, and everything prior to her leaving, because she didn't have a car note. So we was not all of these extra expenses you have just going to work.
Okay.
Right? So I calculated that, and my first mindset was, okay, I can just acquire another property. There's ways to make up for this money. So you're going to work into this date. We're going to invest this money, because she was trying to double down on her student loans. I'm like, man, forget them student loans at the time.
Right.
We're going to put that extra money into this.
Okay.
So it can generate more monthly,
right,
more monthly income.
You want assets, not liabilities, right?
Yeah, to cover your expenses. And then my expenses was low, so I'm like, yeah, we can do this, because when you're in my house, I gotta pay the mortgage regardless of how many people is here, right?
Right.
So it's not like we got married and all of a sudden the home expenses doubled. It was just a matter of like auto insurance, student loan payments, credit card payments, little stuff like that. And then she's not adding up those expenses more because there's less she has to buy, because she doesn't have the work-related expenses.
Okay.
Right. But then there are times where I like to buy. See, I got to go back to the mindset. So a lot of stuff that we grew up with, however we grew up, the trauma we had as kids. I grew up, my grandmother and my mother, they just love the Goodwill and Salvation Army, right? She like thrift stores. She'll do the dollar store. She'll look at clearance racks. I'm like, look, it's on a mannequin. That looks nice. I'm buying it.
Right.
I like to buy quality stuff, and I do keep the budget in mind, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to save money on something. If it's quality, I'm just going to get it.
Okay.
So, but that's something that was in me from my childhood. So I'm opposite of what I guess I'm trying to make up for my childhood. Like
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Right?
So your surroundings you was very frugal, for lack of a better word, cheap. And
right.
You like, I ain't going out like that. Like, I want nice things. Yeah. And I think, you know what? I feel the same way, Reg. My mom, not to say, you know, she bought me nice stuff, but my mom was always say, yo, you got champagne dreams and Kool-Aid money, but I always wanted the good stuff. So I had a paper route early. So when my mama couldn't give me what I wanted, I did this paper route so I could get the things I wanted. You know what I'm saying? So I feel you where you coming from. But I had the same mindset. Like I hate it now because my income is not necessarily where I want it to be. So I kind of got a budget, got to save. I hate it because I'm not used to that. I'm used to really going in the store and getting what the hell I want. You know, right. But it's a little different now. So I totally get where you're coming from. You know,
and my mindset now is, you know, if it's champagne, it's champagne. If I want it, I'll get it. But the thing is, I'm not drinking champagne all the time. And when I do, I want the best champagne. But, you know, I don't want Kool-Aid neither. So I might settle. I might do vodka and cranberry, whatever, right?
Right.
But it's just one of those things. We're mindful of the money. We acknowledge that we both have a little bit different spending habits, but she respects the fact that I'm bringing income into the household. But on the flip side, a lot of women are scared because they feel like the man is going to abuse that power, right? And I already
some men do. Some of them rightfully have a fear because they have abused that power.
Yeah, and that's just not the person I am.
Right.
Either I'm married to you and we treating each other fair or not. It has nothing to do with who's bringing the income in.
Okay.
Right. She respects me, but she respects the money the same way I respect the money.
Okay.
So there's a mutual respect there in the marriage and relationship outside of the money being made or who's bringing in the money and that type of thing. Because she could blow up. Her book can be $1 million seller in the next couple of weeks or whatever.
And you done made up for everything you done brought in. There you go.
Yeah. Now I don't expect her to act different because.
Okay. All right. That's what's up. Okay, we're gonna cut with the questions a little bit. We're gonna ask one of the questions from the game.
All right.
Yeah, and then we'll get into some more questions. Man, I was looking forward to this interview too. I just want y'all to know.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I was definitely looking forward to this. I don't know why I thought y'all was married so much longer. And when he told me 6 years, I thought y'all had some 10, 15. But y'all, you know what? No, but because you when you look at y'all, you wouldn't never. I would have never guessed y'all only been married 6 years. I'm be honest with you. You know, sometimes when me and my wife go places, we've had every time we go someplace, somebody always walking up to us like, you guys, if I didn't know y'all was together, y'all look like y'all need to be together. Like we always get that kind of vibe from people when we go places. I'm like, wow, you know, I have yet to hear anybody say y'all look alike. You know how sometimes people say, well, you've been married so long, y'all look alike. I have yet to see that, but I hear that. But somebody is always walking up to us and say, y'all look really good together. So yeah, I definitely I take pride in that. So that's kind of how I feel about y'all. When I see y'all together, y'all, not only do y'all look good together, I would have never only thought y'all only been married 6 years. So that's okay. So let's ask. We're gonna do 4 questions. All right. The first question, and again, remember these questions. I'm posing these questions as if you were asking them to one another. All right. So, do you feel safe to be yourself in this relationship? Sophia, I want you to go first.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm goofy. I'm corny. I'll randomly jump into a song and he sings along with me. So I mean, this is the best place in my life that I've ever been free to be myself.
Awesome. What about you, Reg?
Yeah, I'm gonna be myself regardless. And she accepted it, so that's why we're here. Because if she didn't, we wouldn't be together. Yeah.
All right. Do you feel like you have ever hurt me in this relationship? Explain.
Yeah, I think I heard her when we pushed that date back. So she was mad. She was mad. So here's the thing. We wasn't living together at the time. She had an apartment, but she was coming over often. She was like, I'm going back to my apartment. Like, I ain't staying over here tonight. I was like, what? Like, it's only 4 weeks or whatever, however long it was. But yeah, I think that hurt her. What else? It was something else. I think she's more hurt that we don't dance as much.
Okay.
She hit around to it, but we got the golf bug and being at that. And she was like, we don't go out dancing. I'm like, ain't no place open like that. But we got to get back to that. Because that was her first love. She was dancing years before I got into it.
Okay.
So and then it was an issue with the nieces and nephews. They come up every year. And it was one year they came up, and I just wasn't here as much. And she was just like, they wore her out. She was like, I thought you was gonna be here more. Man. I was like, but you brought them up here. I was like, plus they Buckeyes too. You better leave them kids down there.
I get my niece and nephew every year for a week. They've been doing that since they were 5. So the oldest, she just turned 18. The second oldest is 15. She just turned 16.
16, yep.
So the boy is going to be turning 16 15 later this year.
Yeah.
But so the thing is those two have been the chillest niece and nephew / godchildren in their life. What changed the game for me was the 5-year-old.
Okay.
I was ready for him. That
was his first year coming up.
So his energy levels, his inquisitiveness, his pickiness, and like it was crazy. And I'm thinking that Reggie would come home and kind of, tap in, like, all right, at least be in the room with me. Went to the other room and continued working. And it was for the whole week, it was a lot. And I was emotionally exhausted. And my nephew, the older one, came to me. He's like, Auntie, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm tired. He was like, I'm sorry. I was like, no. I've enjoyed every minute of you guys. It's like this. I'm an introvert. I'm usually not used to just always go.
Yeah.
A lot for me. And he was like, okay, well, just, take a nap. You'll be okay. And so I did. I took a nap. They always let me take naps, which I love about them. They won't burn the house down. But once their parents came up, and they even saw it on my face. They were like, "Oh, honey, you
okay?"
So they left, and I just broke. I was just like, "Oh, it's still too much noise in the house. The TV's up. I can't do this. Like, I thought you were gonna help me." And he just didn't realize and he wasn't prepared for it because we've always had the older two.
Yeah.
Chill. Right. And so when we had the younger one, he was like, "Oh, I got you next time." So, and he's been perfect since then. We just weren't ready. We weren't prepared.
Yeah, it was just the difference of the younger one, and I was relating everything to the previous years. It was like, oh, I come home. The older two teenagers, they ain't paying us no attention. They video games and Instagram
on their phone.
Yeah. And then when I say let's go have fun, bike ride or whatever, they just would it.
Okay.
But that younger one, it was just like, and I wasn't expecting it because usually she have their whole week planned with events during the day.
Okay.
While I'm at work. Then when I get home, I'm expecting they not gonna pay nobody no attention. They gonna be to themselves. But that younger one changed the game. And I had something planned for them this last time they came. I was like, oh, I'm gonna wear them out. He gonna
I got him this time.
Yeah, he gonna be tired. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. So what about for you, Sophia? What was do you feel like you have ever been hurt in this relationship? And explain.
Have I hurt you?
No.
Yeah, no.
No? Okay.
No, I can't think of no times.
No, usually we try and
I gotta knock on wood.
Yeah, gotta knock on wood. But no, I try and address things quickly.
Okay.
If there's an issue, and like at the point that it happens, so that it doesn't drag on. Because I was notorious for like stewing for weeks, and I said when I get married, I can't. That's not acceptable. I can't do that. So anytime something pops up, I go straight to him like, "Hey, can it's a quick discussion because I don't let it fester." So I'm gonna pick something up, and he's like, "Oh, okay," and then boom, it's done.
Okay.
So yeah, I try to address stuff like super quick, fast, in a hurry, so we get back to happy.
Right. All right. So next question: what has loving me taught you about yourself? Sophia, I want you to go first. What has loving Reggie taught you about yourself?
It's given me a deeper respect for what Reggie does. And every time he's here, I try my best to make him happy, because even though he doesn't tell me everything that goes on with his day, I spend a pretty good amount of time with him sometimes, and he might be taking business calls. I may be with him in the office, and I see what he has to deal with and all the dragons he has to fight when he's out there. And I just want him to come home and be happy. I want this to be his resting place. I don't want him to, have to take the long way home or sit in the driveway for an hour trying to get his mind right.
No, but so the question is, I appreciate that, but about yourself, what has loving him taught you about you?
I guess. The capacity that I have to, and I guess it goes with what I was saying before, to give.
Okay.
That people are worth, giving and making sacrifices for, and that I made an excellent decision.
Okay. What about you, Reggie?
I learned more about myself. I learned that I'm not. I wasn't paying attention to like some of the small things, right? I had a habit of looking at the bigger picture so much that the small things in the picture that make it up can ruin the bigger picture, right?
Right.
So like, and she's I'm emotional sometimes, but she's way more emotional than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I'll be like, oh God, we going through this right now. I'll be like, and I have a habit of just kind of like saying, just get over it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to get to the end result, right?
Okay. And
And
that's me. We want to fix it. That's just what we do.
exactly.
We want to fix it.
Yep. So loving her has taught me that I have to be more considerate of her actual feelings. And that's what people in general,
Yeah.
right? And then I have to be able to communicate to people in their language, if that makes sense. So
it does, because we're going to touch on that as well. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I think it's very important. Like you said something very key, Reggie, too. Sometimes as men, we looking at the bigger picture. We're not looking at the little things that make up that big picture. So of course, then your wife kind of gets lost in that. Like, hey, let's talk about these little things. I see the bigger picture, but let's talk about these little things that make up the big picture, so we can address and resolve those things. And sometimes as men, because we are just natural fixers, you miss out on those things. Right. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is that sometimes your wife just wants you to hear her. I don't want you to fix it. I don't want you to rub me on my back. Just listen. That's all I want you to do. Right. You know? Yeah. And I've heard that from so many wives. Like, I don't want you to fix it. I really don't. I just want you to listen.
Yeah, I'm like, why are you telling me if you don't want me?
And Reggie, I said the same thing. Why are you telling me if you don't want me to fix it? I'm like, why are you telling me this if you don't want me to fix it? And I have to learn. And it's still a work in progress. Just listen.
And I try not to hit them with those type of conversations. Like, if I just need to vent to somebody, I just call my sister up, because I know if I need to vent in a way that's probably gonna need a solution, I'll talk to him about it. But other than that, it's like I'll just vent to my sister. Just because I'm going to be hurt. But another thing I thought about was patience. Mm-hmm. He has taught me a lot about patience.
Okay.
Yeah, he's think more logical and get to the facts and not the emotion.
Okay.
And yeah.
Yeah. Out of the 6 years you guys have been married, even including the time that you were dating, has there been 1 year or one time that particular time instance you can point to where it was the most difficult, your marriage was the most difficult?
I can't say any. No, I can't think of none.
So there was not 1 year instance or during the course of you guys being married was like it was the most difficult, like, okay, we gotta figure out how to weather the storm?
So let me kind of give you some background. I am a certified wife school mentor.
Mm-hmm.
So I attended.
Tell us what that means.
So wife school is a movement for Black women to improve themselves, improve their marriages. People who are looking to find marriages, using some of the best wife, attributes or the aspects of what makes a good wife from over 16 countries.
Okay.
So my mentor, I think back in 2015, she selected 6 ladies, and I was one of them to also to help mentor some of the other ladies. So I have been with her since 2015. So no, it was 2016 she made me mentor. Yeah. So 2015, I've been with her since 2015. And so basically she's covering everything top to bottom of what it means to be a wife.
Wow.
The down and dirty stuff, the stuff that people, like even your parents and grandparents, aunts and uncles, aren't talking to you about. And so she equipped me with everything. And it's not saying that I had an exhaustive list of what it means to be a wife and then to go into the marriage just knowing everything, but how to navigate difficult conversations or just some of the things that we didn't know about marriage. And so before Reggie and I got married, we had was considered marriage negotiations. So it was this long contract about like 125 points at least, where we went into every nook, cranny detail of how we were going to run this marriage, from finances to children, the temperature, the thermostat temperature in the house during the year. Because I mean, people get into arguments about that.
Yes.
So we're very, very, very meticulous about how this marriage is going to run, that I was going to be, we were going to run a traditional home. I was going to be a stay-at-home wife, and this is how we were going to handle the finances, the amount of financial risk he was allowed to take, because I wanted him to be comfortable enough to fail and know that there wasn't going to be judgment from me.
Oh, wow.
So we came in with that, and she was always saying that, you know, the first year of marriage is usually the hardest, but because we had that foundation and a community that continually supports us. Like, we just went to go see my mentor back in June in Senegal. And so she's always on me. I'm talking to her almost daily, and she'll like message me and say, hey, have you know, when's the last time you did such and such for your husband? And I'm like, oh, I haven't. So let me get on it. So she's constantly on me. If I have any questions or I'm worried about something, I go to her. She's like, okay, this is how you need to handle it. Have this type of conversation with them. So I've got such a huge support behind me. Reggie also went to Husband Summit, which is also part of the Wife School program. He knows he's got the male support behind him as well. And I don't know if my mentors ever reached out to him, but I know if something was ever going on, he can go to her and say, hey, this is what's going on with my wife. Can you please talk to her? And she'll come to me, and you know, and we get it together.
Wait, I can do that?
Yeah, you can do
that.
You're like, wait a minute, I can do that. I got that right. Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're for. They are community.
You know what?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, what I was gonna say is part of that. So everything she just explained, like when I went through a divorce and everything, you start reading, you start learning all of this stuff. And when we met, that was her conversation, right?
Okay.
And I had already went through this self-accountability thing, like, okay, this is what I did wrong, and this is what I need to learn. This is who I need to become in order to have good relationships, not just a marriage, but just good relationships in general. Right?
Yeah, in general.
So when we met, our mindset and our conversations were matching up.
Okay.
Right. And that was the difference. So it was it's like everything she said, I couldn't tell you much about none of that. I just know this was the package that came from that. And I was like, oh, this looks good. Right. And that's why, I mean, that's what it was. So you said something about the thermostat, right? So like this ties into everything she said plus the financials. She's like, it's summertime. I want the windows open. I want to feel the warmth. We've been cold, and I'm like, man, I grew up. I never had AC in the house, right? I'm like, man, I got AC. I'm using it,
right?
And sometimes I compromise. I'll be like, all right, open the windows. But for the most time, I'm like, I'm turning the AC on. It's gonna be cold in here, and we under the covers, so it's cold. and it's 90 degrees.
Sophia, you gotta get under the cover.
Yeah, but just something as small as that, though, I realized that it's important to her. She don't just want the windows open because she want to be hot. She want to experience summer a certain way.
Okay.
Because we don't get to do that in November, right?
Yeah.
And sometime I'll be like, all right, well, it's only 75. I can bear it. Let's open the windows. Or we'll open the windows at night, right? So I'll let her experience summer the way she wants. And I run the AC like crazy. When we work it out. But I had too many hot summers. I feel like I deserve AC at my age, right?
And you know what? That's so interesting because something, and like you said, so something as small as the regulating the heat can get you into a big argument. But to me, when you argue about the small stuff, it's something bigger behind that.
Yeah.
It's always something much bigger behind that. Always something much bigger behind that. Do you guys still date?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. How often does dating happen?
Negotiations. 40 hours a week. That was part of our marriage negotiations. 40 hours a week.
Okay.
So I tell people we're still in that we're in the extended honeymoon stage. You know how people
Amen. All right.
And because it's 40 hours a week, I committed. And going back to delaying the wedding, getting married, she felt like, oh, we got all of this. We talked about all of this. There's no need for counseling. I was like, no, but I still wanted the counseling, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what we learned through that stage really was all we needed. I just had to feel comfortable knowing that we went that extra step.
Yeah.
But yeah, dating, I mean, dancing, competing together, golf.
I just want to say, I hope this interview goes viral. Y'all done laid some gems down in y'all short 6 year of marriage. And I want to say this because I don't want hold that thought, Reggie. Sophia, right. If you wouldn't mind, I would definitely like to contact you offline because I want to have a one-on-one conversation with you about this woman's mentorship, what it means to be a wife. Because not only do I feel like women need to hear, but men need to hear, because I still think there's a certain level of understanding that what men need to understand what it means to have a wife as well. You know what I'm saying? I think that's important. And Reggie, whatever mentorship program you are in, I want to share. I want to talk to you about that as well, because you know, man, we don't have accountability. Like I don't, right. Like I got some boys I can talk to or whatever, but I don't know if we necessarily have, especially as Black men,
right,
people who are promoting and believing in Black marriage, in Black love, and showing you like, listen, you know, I had one of my friends, like, you know, if me and my wife get into something and I went to him, and he was like, and one of the things he always said, let the temperature go down, you know, just calm down and then wait for the temperature to go down and then go back in. You might have a different mindset. But I think that's important for Black men to support Black men, especially those who are married. Right. Especially those who are married. So I do want to talk to each one of you offline. Sophia, I'm really interested into that wife mentorship program that you're a part of, because there may be some wives, especially getting married, you know, going into the marriage, like you knew what your expectation was of being a wife. Like you almost pretty much dissected everything down to the last minute detail. And there's some women out there who need to hear, whether you're getting married or already in an existing marriage, to change your mindset. You know what I'm saying? So I really would love to talk to you offline and set up another interview with you to kind of get that, and maybe even have your mentorship come on. We do something live where women can come on and ask those questions.
I'm telling you, boy.
I just opened up a Pandora's box.
Well, no. So, the other thing I respected about her, so in my line of work, the people at the top succeed to the level based on the coaching they have.
Okay.
And the coaching is strong accountability. You say you want this. This is how you do it. I'm holding you accountable for it. I'm not your friend. This is just it.
Okay.
And tomorrow I'm calling you. Did you make your calls? Did you do this, right? So a lot of females, they be like, oh, I just love your wife. She's so beautiful. And I'll be like, yeah. And then they be like, I want to talk to her about getting married and what type of man I should be looking for. And I'll be like, all right. And they come out from talking to her and they be like, I don't even need to be looking for a man. I need to be looking for myself.
Wow.
Right? And fixing myself. There's a lot of accountability in this process, right?
Okay.
Like I said, when I met her, I had the finished package. I couldn't even tell you what she was prior to that.
Wow.
Or who she was or how she was in relationships. And when I met her mentor, when I met her mentor and I looked at some of the other women that they were coaching and you know, you hear a few stories. They don't share a lot with the men, but I know some of the females that I know outside in personal life and family members, friends, co-workers, and all that. And I was like, they can't go through this process because it's not what they want to hear, and it's a lot of self-accountability, and it's a lot of just giving respect first. Because a lot of times people say, oh, somebody got to earn my respect, right? But you get a different outcome when you respect somebody up front. So it's a lot of little nuances to it, but the closest thing I can relate it to is if you came to me and you said you wanted to open a business, and I had success in several businesses, and I told you got to wake up at 5 a.m. every day, and you be like, no, I don't want to do that, right? Or you want six-pack abs, and I'll be like, you got to eat right, do sit-ups and exercise, and you be like, I love my Oreos. It's not gonna work, right? So it's the same process with that. So when I just tell people, be careful, because you want it, but you got to know how bad you want it and what it means to you in your life. But the end result is great.
Yes.
The end result is great. That's all I can say. And knowing that, because you did the work, you're going to attract a different quality of person and different type of people in your life. Wow. So when we talk about mentorship, being around certain men, I have friends I do sports activities with, or friends we dance with. But when it comes to relationships, if you're not married, or you got to be a certain caliber of person for me to conversate with you about marriage.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So either I'm pouring into you because you want the information, or you're pouring into me to help build me up. And that's just it.
Wow. Oh my God. I am not disappointed in this interview, because I see so many different things, like, oh man. And I can't wait for my wife to see this. Y'all just blew my mind, especially with this whole wife mentor. What is it called again, Sophia?
Wife School.
Wife School. Wife School.
Yeah.
And your mentor is in the motherland?
Yeah, she lives there now. Well, I think half of the year. The other half, she is in France.
Okay.
So she's from New Orleans.
Okay.
Her husband is from Martinique, but he had moved to France. So she had met her husband. They got married. So she's been living in France. Once COVID hit, the restrictions over there were just way too much. You had to have a COVID test if you wanted to go to the restaurant or go grocery shopping. It was insane. So they were like,
it was in Europe. It was big. Like, they wasn't playing for real.
Yeah. So there weren't many restrictions in Africa. So they opted for Senegal.
Okay.
And I just want to clarify something. So I know, like, what's his name that was on YouTube? Kevin Samuels. He used to mention a lot about a wife school. This was way before any of the YouTube stuff blew up. This program, the things she went through, it was small. It wasn't meant to be like worldwide type thing. But now everybody's a relationship counselor on YouTube. And we be watching this stuff like, oh my God, some people gonna get ruined, right? Some of it's good stuff, but I understand they have to sell the drama and everything.
Yeah.
But this was something that was authentic. So sometime I'll mention something about, my wife was a mentor in this wife school, and they'll be like, oh, like such and such on YouTube. And I'm like, no, it's nothing like that. So I just had to say that. But it's a process, it's work, but nobody explained to you what the work is.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Wife school. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna reach out to you, because I want to get more. I want to talk to you more in depth about that. And I definitely want to talk to you more in depth about that. I'm actually at a loss of words. That was a lot. Like, really, you guys know, seriously, I'm seriously, I can't wait to be able to share this with other people, because that's a lot of information. And you guys did the work up front. Everybody don't do that. To do the work up front. I'm on my second time around, and I didn't do the work up front. I do realize what mistakes I made in my first marriage. Like, I told my current wife the things that I did, and I'm desperate to make sure that I don't repeat those same mistakes. One of the things I did, I went back to my first wife and I apologized to her about the things that I made, because I didn't want her to walk away from our marriage thinking that it was her fault. I had to take responsibility for what I did to cause the demise of our marriage. And I told her I was sorry for what I did in that marriage, because I only have control over me. So I went back and I apologized to her, let her know, like, hey, not to say that she was perfect. She made some mistakes as well, but I had to be responsible for me. And I wanted to make sure that, again, that whatever I did there, that I didn't do in my current marriage, So that was just one of the things I did about holding myself accountable. Has your definition of marriage changed since the day you got married? How or why? I don't even know if these questions are relatable to you guys, but like I don't even I should just end this right here. Like, if I was to say I had a perfect couple, y'all would be it. Like I was saying, people don't go through stuff, they ain't had no marriage, but the fact that y'all didn't put in the work way ahead of time, like this is just absolutely amazing. But if you can answer that question, I would like y'all to answer.
No, my definition of marriage hasn't changed since I've been married, but once I got my act together and was attending wife school and really understanding what it meant to be a wife, it really changed then, because my mother was married, and when she was married to my father, she was a stay-at-home wife. My grandmother was a stay-at-home wife. My great-grandmother was a stay-at-home wife. So I came from
your DNA to be at home.
Right. And so, but because once my mother got divorced, her tune changed, and it was go out there, get a good education, get a good job, and don't depend on no man for anything. And I took that, and because I didn't want to disappoint my mother, I took it and ran with it. And I was a little bit extreme, a lot of bit extreme. And so I was thinking, well, I do want to be married. Like I've always wanted to be married.
Okay.
And I just thought like, oh, it was, communicating, you're happy, and, supposed to do all this stuff. But it was my warped view of what I thought the marriage should be. And I put these expectations on these males that, wasn't realistic. And once I got to wife school and got the real nitty gritty of this is what it means to be a wife. This is what it means to be submissive. This is what you got to do in order to have a happy home. And you have to respect a man. You can't be snarky. You can't, just pop off at the mouth. And then like when I'm really getting into it, it's like, whoa, this is intense. Am I really ready for marriage?
I was going to ask you that when you were going through wife school, did you was like, you know what? No, I'm straight. I think I'm going to do what my mama said.
And I just, because there were things that she was saying that resonated with me from like my foundation. And I'm just like, okay, this makes sense. My mom was doing this. My mom was doing that. So I'm like, I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. And so there was some stuff where she was telling us stuff that we needed to do. And I was just like, okay, I'm not going to do that. But as I tried other things and I saw the results that would happen after I tried other things, I'm like, okay, well, let me revisit this and see the results that I get after doing that. And it was like, when I tell you, I haven't met an ain't-ish man since. Like, I only see the good. Even in the people who are people who I wouldn't consider for marriage, there's still a level of respect that can be given to them.
Okay.
Without putting yourselves in harm's way.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it changed my whole worldview. But during that process, I was like, oh, this is heavy. Am I really ready for marriage? And then once, Reggie was on board with it, I said, okay, we both have a community that's behind us, supporting us. I can definitely do this with him.
Okay. Wow. What about you, Reg? Has your definition of marriage changed since being married?
Yeah, definitely. Because I didn't have no examples of what a real marriage was, what a marriage was. Just a lot of dysfunction.
So your examples of marriage don't go back like generations like Sophia did.
Not at all. Yeah. I don't even have that. And the people that were married in my family had multiple divorces and all of that. And it just, I just thought a marriage was, you just took your relationship to the next level just because y'all was together so long.
Just put it on paper. Just sign your name and that's it.
Exactly. And then y'all had a baby and all of that, and you tried to work it out. But now I understand that it's really a process to it. You know what I'm saying? There's things that have to be done for a marriage to work. And then as a man, there's a level of leadership that's required, and direction. And it's a lot more to it than just, we just together and we in love. Right. So it's a commitment. People throw words out like commitment, submissive, respect, and all that, but they don't tell you what goes into that.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I learned. So my understanding of marriage has changed.
Okay.
More than just the definition of it.
Yeah. Because I often say when you say those vows, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, And like you said, Red, sometimes you standing up there at the altar and you hearing that and you all in love, you look into your spouse's eyes and like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do that. But then when the rubber meets the road, and you have to figure out a way, what does richer for poorer mean? Sickness and health mean? You know what I'm saying? I want to ask you guys about this. You said you have a special needs child. How has that impacted your marriage or relationship?
It does. Because it's like having a baby all the time, but you don't get the freedom because like you have people that may be willing to babysit, but you don't know if they're ready for it, right? And then there's always, we don't trust people with our kids, a lot of people anyway.
Right.
But then there's an extra layer of trust that you need. But not only that, so it impacts the time. So Reese is my daughter with my ex-wife.
Okay.
But her and my ex-wife, Sophia, and my ex-wife get along very well. Like they coordinate all the doctor visits.
I was going to say y'all were friends beforehand, so why it should be a problem?
Exactly. And I just show up. They'd be like the doctor appointment on this day, or some days if I'm working, they're both there together. But it is a challenge because you don't have as much freedom, right?
Okay.
So that's why I'm purposeful on making sure. And that was one of my thoughts that I learned from previously, that you had to make that time. So when she said the 40 hours earlier, she was referring to the 40 hours of time spent together. So I intentionally try to find things for us to do together because I know tomorrow Reese is going to be here. We have her every other day, and then we alternate weekends.
Okay.
So that's a lot. And it's like I have to make the time in between. Really, it has to be intentional, right? And then we have to do things with Reese, right? But then there's also the stress when she had brain surgery. There was the stress of that. There's a lot of things that come up, but collectively we work together to make it work. I probably couldn't do it with anybody else except Sophie, right? Okay. And that does put a strain on a relationship, on a marriage, or anything, because then you still have other things. Life is life, right?
Life happens, yeah.
So you just got to figure it out, and that's what I learned from going through that process early on. Being a man, there are certain things that you just have to make happen. You can't sit back and be too emotional about it when it comes to your marriage.
Yeah. The emotional impact of so let me make sure I understand. So your special needs child is with your first wife?
Yes.
Okay. That I wasn't for sure how that worked. And so y'all rotate when you guys have her. And then the child that y'all have together, how old is she?
Oh, we don't have any kids together.
Oh, I thought y'all had a child together. Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. Like the way Sophie is when we speak of our child, it's our child.
Yeah.
Right. So people be like, oh, y'all baby Reese, right? And it's not a knock at her mother, but it's like we're married, so it is our child, right?
It is our child, yeah.
And collectively we all work together to make sure Reese needs are taken care of.
Exactly.
Right.
I don't refer to my kids that my wife had children before we got together. Those are my kids.
Right.
I don't refer to them as my stepkids, and I hate for my wife to refer to me as stepfather. I don't use that term with me.
Right.
Those are our kids. Don't refer to my daughter that I had from a previous relationship as your stepdaughter. That's your daughter. Those my daughter. That's my son. You know what I'm saying? Now I may say bonus kids, but don't call me step nothing. I don't like that. Don't call me stepdad. Don't. Yeah, I don't like that.
I hate that word. Bonus.
Yeah, don't call me step nothing. I told my wife. I done told my kids. I'm not your stepfather. You can call me bonus dad if you want, because I'm just here to, hopefully add value to your life along with your existing parent. But don't call me step nothing. I don't even like that term. We've had that discussion on many. Do not refer to me as stepdad. I don't refer to them as my step. Those are my kids. Period.
I do want to say this for couples that have special needs kids, because it is a strain. I had a friend reach out. He was dating a girl at the time, and her son had cerebral palsy as well. And she just felt like, oh, there's nothing I can do. I can't go anywhere. And I posted something. I can't remember if we took a trip or we was bike riding or something, because my daughter has like an adaptive bike I can put her on.
Okay.
And he was like, man, I showed my girlfriend that. And like, it's like her life changed, right? Because nobody had presented to her any other options.
Yeah.
So if you have special needs kids, you have to get around, just like in marriage, you have to get around other people, because there's a lot of life that you can live, and that child can live a good life as well. And if you're just sitting at home, just doom and gloom, it's going to be miserable.
Because you could be sitting there, like you said, doom and gloom and resenting, all kind of things. The devil can get busy. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want that. I totally agree. So I love the fact that you said that, Reggie. If you watching this and you have a special needs child, get with other special need parents, get a community, a support system, because like you said, there's options. I didn't even know that. And that's good information to hear for parents out there who have special needs kids. Your life doesn't have to end because you have a child that needs constant care. You can still live. The child can still live, and have a life. So yeah, absolutely. That's interesting. So I know we kind of get closer to the hammer. We kind of went over, so I apologize about that. I just been enjoying talking to y'all. Before we go, a couple more things I do want to ask. Has there been anything since we've been communicating, since we've been talking, that you learned about one another that you didn't know before? I know y'all gonna say no, because y'all got it. Y'all like, oh my God, I'm just so mad right now. Not mad in that way, but like, y'all did the work, man. I like this. Y'all just don't know what it has done my heart absolutely joy to hear the stuff that y'all did up front to secure your marriage, to make sure that it was successful. And everybody don't do that. Like they just don't do that. Not willing to put in the work, and myself included. Like I just, you know what I'm saying? I had to learn the hard way. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's just amazing. But has there been anything since we've been talking that you guys learned about one another that you didn't know before?
I guess the fact that he used the word strain when it comes to dealing with Reese, I think it's because he's had Reese since she was born.
Right.
And so I'm sure that put a strain on his first marriage and everything. But when I came along, Reese was like 12. So when I married into this is what I married into. Now there are days that I'm tired, but the fact that Reggie takes the time to pour into me, gives me the energy to take care of Reese, and then he, like, if I'm tired, he's like, listen, go to bed, take a nap, you're good. So some days, I'm tired, but I wouldn't have used the word strain.
Okay.
So
man, our kids are strained. I don't care what you heard what you say about our nieces and nephews.
Right. You just talked about you had a strain with the nieces and nephews, Sophia. So I get it. Like, man, oh man. Wow. That's so funny. Okay, I want to ask a couple more questions from the game.
All right.
Yeah. I do want to ask this before I forget. Do you guys, because y'all mentioned about language and you said intentional about dating.
Right.
How does the dating thing work? Like, how do y'all date? Like, how does that work? Like, how do y'all plan for dating? Reggie, are you initiating and setting up the dating, or Sophia, are you initiating and setting up or do y'all kind of trade it off? Like, how does that work?
It's part of our routine.
Yeah. So I had to, but that's something I had to learn, right? Because you learn from your failures. So I had to learn, like, hey, too much time went past, go do something, right? Don't just do the same old boring, go to the movies, go out to dinner. Now she's a foodie, so I know a good restaurant is right up her alley. Right? But
hey, Sophia, you say just speak to my stomach and you got me, baby.
Yeah, and I like food too, right? So it's not just going out to eat, it's like the experience. Where are we going to experience this time? And then we're both competitive. Like I'm not extra macho aggressive, but I'm competitive, and she is too. So when we took up golfing, it was like, oh, we going to the range today? That might be our date. You know what I'm saying? We'll be at the range for hours. Then sometimes we'll go to the range and just putt. We'll play games where we just putting against each other because that's part of improving our game. And we're in a league together. So we looking at our score. Are we number one this week? Let's keep whipping butt, right? The same with dancing. Dancing became the competition. That was one thing that made us compete, but it brought us closer together. And then we do other stuff, bike riding. And she'll see something. She like, hey, I want to go see what was the Asian thing?
Oh, Joyride.
No, not that. What was the thing you went with Monife? Anyway, I didn't want to go.
Shenyun.
I asked my wife because she likes stuff like that as well. I asked her, did she want to get tickets? I can't remember if she said yes or no, because she loved, like my wife, like she used to dance, so like ballet, formal dancing. She loves stuff like that. Alvin Ailey. When I tell you, I think I know the words to Hamilton by heart because she watched it every day. Every time I come in the house, she's singing, and I'm like, oh my God. If I could have got her tickets to that, and I'm still going to try. If I can get her tickets, I'm taking her to see Hamilton. But my wife loved theater stuff like that. So
stuff that she wants to do, she'll bring it up. And sometimes I don't go. I sent her with a coworker. Then she came back telling me about it. I'm like, oh, maybe I should have went.
I reenacted some of the dances.
Then she reenacted it. I'm like, oh, I don't know about it. I wouldn't want it to sit through all of that. And then it's stuff that I do. Like I'm big into hip hop. So it's some stuff she'll tolerate, some stuff I'll tolerate because the other person likes it. But we're honest enough to say, no, I don't want to go.
That ain't my thing, right? Yeah.
But then we intentionally try to find stuff that we can enjoy together. And we hang out with other couples. Like there's couples we golf with. We know a lot of couples that dance. Bike riding. There's couples we bike ride with. Now people trying to get us to play pickleball. So it's like it's a number of things you can do, right? We'll just get up sometime and where we went to Mackinac Island. So you just got to find stuff and make time. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Mm-hmm. You can go downtown and skate or something and break your back or whatever you got to do. Just get hurt with your spouse and you'll be all right.
Exactly. Right? And the one thing I had a conversation with one of my clients, which I will remember, she will remain nameless until she tell her own story. But we were talking about, you guys mentioned something about the dating and being intentional about it. Like you have to, like I told her, I was like, well, me and my wife, because we take step lessons.
Yeah.
And I'm a personal trainer. I work full time, but I also still have clients. So I blocked that time out so to make sure that that's our time together. Like I'm not rushing in the beginning or rushing and saying, oh, I got to hurry up and get out of here so we can go. I got a client. No, I blocked that time out. And you have to be intentional. Both parties have to be intentional to set that time up today. Because I get people on here all the time. They was like, oh, Al, I see you and your wife dating all the time. Y'all posting stuff. And it's like, and a couple of husbands like, man, I need to get what you got to tell me what you do, what your success is. But you know what it is? What you just said. Intentional. Set the time aside. Like you set the time aside to do anything else. You have to be purposeful and intentional with the dating thing. Like it's not that hard. Like I was even telling my little brother, you're talking about having money and to do things. You can have a picnic right in your living room.
Yep.
Have a picnic right in your, and sometimes that don't mean the world to your wife because you went the extra mile to even do this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's you have to be intentional. That's it with the dating thing. For the men who hearing this saying they don't have time, you got time. You got to make time. But like I was telling a friend of mine, But the onus isn't always, to me, in my opinion, always on the man. Because as men, we were single before and we were dating, had women hitting on us. So I want to understand, I want to feel desire too. So
right.
Set up the dates as well. But my wife is really good about that. She loves fancy. She's loves fancy restaurants. We've been vegan, more plant-based for the last 5 years. So it's this one restaurant. I'm not slamming them. I was just like, why are we going down here spending $500-$600 on a meal and all we eating is some broccoli?
Right.
But she's there for the experience. That's what it is for her. So I'm like, okay, whatever. But I'm like, we could have saved that money for something else, but she wants it for the experience. So we do that. But I wanted to say this. I'm a big tennis player. And I'll tell you, for the longest time, I used to mention it to my wife, I love tennis. Come see me. She watched me play, but she wasn't present. And it bothered me so much. But I was like, you know what? After a while, I was just like, you know what? I don't even worry about it no more. If I need something that's related to tennis, like she don't go, she don't play. My wife, she ran track in high school.
Right.
But I bought her some fitness equipment she has, so she works out, but she's not into it like I am. So I've learned not to push that on her because that's not her lane. That's not her. That's my lane. And that's okay. Like, I'm not real big in the theater. I will go with her. I like the more contemporary pieces, but the other stuff, I'll be like, I don't want to see that. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I like you said, I love hip hop. I grew up on it. So when they introduce hip hop into an R&B, I like the contemporary piece. I enjoy that. But when it gets the traditional part, I sit back, but I try to remain present nonetheless, because it's something that I agreed to do with her. So I don't want to be there and not be present. And I think that's one of the things we established earlier. If we're going to do something that the other one doing and you don't really like it, just be present.
You know what too? It's actually good that couples have something different, because
absolutely
that builds you. But when even when we watch like certain movies, she used to watch, what was not the Bollywood,
Nollywood,
the Nigerian movies on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous. So what I learned is, when you experience what your spouse likes, I pay attention. Like you said, I don't have to be 100% into it, but what I'm looking for is, what is this experience teaching me about my spouse?
Yes.
And what am I learning? And then it's always something I'll be like, oh, that's her personality. Oh, I get what, you know what I'm saying? So when we was dating, I was watching a bunch of battle raps, and she just picked up, and I didn't know she was watching some battles before that, right? And I was like, she wasn't just watching it, she actually understood the bars.
Okay.
Right? Now, she wasn't into it as deep as I was, but she was into it enough. So like, when I say something witty, she'd be like, oh, that's a bar, right? Just in a normal conversation. Now, would she go to a battle rap with me and everybody's smoking and doing it? Probably not. Right. But she gets my personality more because she's looking at what I'm reacting to in the same way.
Man, I love y'all. When I tell y'all done dropped a couple gems in this spot, for real. That's what's up. Yeah, and I think that's so important, Reggie. Like you said, the fact that when you experience what your spouse experienced through their eyes, it tells you more about them.
Exactly.
And you literally just changed your mindset. Let me find out why they like this the way they like it. I can find out a little bit more about them, and then speak to them, and which is a question I was going to ask you, in their love language.
Yeah.
You speak to them in their love language, which is key, which people don't always get. Do either of you know what your love language is, what the other one's love language is? Have y'all taken the test?
She's more, and I could be wrong because it changes. That's what a lot of people don't talk about. Your love language could change. But she likes affection and holding and all of that stuff.
Okay.
And she likes gifts, and she likes kind words and all that stuff. Okay. And I'm not that. Sometimes she'll sit here and she'll be like, for example, we're on the golf course and she leans over the car and put her hand on me, and I'm like in competitive. I'm like, I don't need the feminine energy around me right now. Like, I'm in warrior mode, right? and she want to touch my hand and all that while she texting on her phone, laughing at it. I'm like, I'm in warrior mode. I'm thinking my next shot. So, but yeah, she's more affectionate and she likes the words of affirmation and all of that. And I'm like, I like it, but yeah, I just like more like just straight to like feed me. You know what I'm saying?
So with that being said, Sophia, do you think you know what his love language is? Because generally we put out what we want back.
Yeah. And so
y'all have, man, oh my God, y'all done had me over here laughing and inspired at the same time.
So what I've kind of learned through wife school is that the level, because I've taken the test and I knew what my top
your
two
primary.
Yeah. But what I've learned is those love languages are really geared towards women.
Okay.
And it's not really attacking what men view as love, and men view respect as love.
Okay.
Women like adoration as love. And how do you get adoration? Quality time, words of affirmation, acts of service, like all that stuff that's saying, you know, I adore you kind of thing.
Okay.
And it's not really focusing on because a man some men like gifts, but they're not like, you know,
that's my love language. I like gifts.
Roses, and it's like it's kind of more like I would see as a more feminine trait, like giving flowers and stuff like that. So it depends. Like I've gotten him some good gifts. But I think for him, gosh, if I could pick one, I don't know, acts of service.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Acts of service.
Right. Okay. They won 500. Hey, I do. Yeah, Chick-fil-A. So I do want to share this real quick.
Okay.
One of the biggest things she did when she talked about the respect, I was speaking at an event. It was like a small like mastermind event. And it was several people there from out of state. They were like real estate investors or whatever. And I was speaking and she was just looking at me, like paying attention as if she's never heard me speak or she's never heard this information before. And I didn't pay it any mind. And when we was done, I went and sat down and we was eating or whatever. And guy, he was like, man, your wife really paid attention. He was like, my wife would have been sitting there on her cell phone like, I don't want to hear him speak no more.
Right.
And right then it dawned on me, like, those small things, that meant a lot to me because it left an impression on the people I was speaking to through
your
her.
peers. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So she's a reflection of me, and my peers respect me more because of who she is and how she how she shows up in public. Wow. And I was like, dang, I was like, damn, this is fly, right?
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my God, like y'all done dropped so many gems. Like that was absolutely awesome. Like for real. Like, yeah. I remember a time like me and my wife were about to go out or something. No, she's stressed out on her job, so a bunch of stuff was going on. And I had called her, I got to work, I called her, and we were just having some conversation. And I had talked to her about something else. I was referring to something else, but she said, oh yeah, something about going out. So I ended up hanging up the phone. So what I heard was wasn't mentioning anything about going out, but that's what she needed. So when I got home, I set up a whole date. And when we got across from the table from one another, I asked her, I said, is this what you needed? She just reached over and grabbed my hand. This is exactly what I needed.
Wow.
But I was just listening. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like I called her on something else. Right. But her response to what I said, she thought I was talking about a date, but I wasn't talking about that. And then I got off the phone, but I said, you know what? I'm gonna mess her up because she don't even know I heard her. So when I got home the next day, I set up a whole little date and we went out, had a good time. And she was like, this is exactly what I needed to wind down.
Yep.
And just listening, you know what I'm saying? Like you just said, like the fact that your wife was actively listening to what, like you said, she had never heard you speak before, made an impression on everybody. And I think as men, we have to pay attention to those things, you know?
Right.
We definitely have to pay attention. Okay, the last 4 questions, and then I'm gonna let you guys get out of here. I thank you for your time. I've just been enjoying talking with y'all. I really have. I really have enjoyed talking to y'all. Okay, fill in the blank. If we stayed together for the remainder of our lives, it would be because of.
I would say it's because of love, to be honest, and just because of love. Like for me, it's more about like when we mentioned the kids earlier and how that look on her face of distress and all that, and the strain, like you said, what I never wanted
that 5-year-old put on you. That 5 it was the 5-year-old.
I never wanted to see that look on her face again, right?
Okay.
So when they came this time, I had something for them. Like, y'all not gonna put this. So us staying together, that's it would just be to, a lot of people say you want to make your spouse happy and all of that. Mine is just to not see that look on her face again, right? But yeah, I would just say love.
Okay.
In a deeper sense of love, really.
What about for you, Sophia?
Oh, go ahead.
The commitment. I guess the deeper sense of love, like the work that he puts in to make sure that we have a good life. I just, anything I do, I want to give it back to him 100-fold.
Okay. All right. Can you honestly say that you are giving your all into this relationship? Why not? I don't even want y'all to answer that. Don't worry about that one. Yeah. I know y'all putting in 120%. Okay, what are the 3 things I can do right now to make you smile?
So
look at one another and answer the question. Don't tell me. Tell
me. What are 3 things I can do to make you smile? You smiling already.
Right.
I'm done. I'm winning.
I do want one thing though. I want to kiss.
Oh God. See how she all affectionate. I don't want to kiss on camera and stuff. Kiss when y'all are gone.
You know what?
What are 3 things though, real quick?
I'm good right now. Like my tank is topped off.
All right. It gotta be 3 things. I gave you a kiss. That's 1.
Okay, that's 1.
I'm
gonna go to barbecue house later.
Okay. See what I'm talking about.
Okay. What's the 3rd one?
3rd one.
Rub this genie good now, Sophia. Make this wish right.
You're not recording that, are you?
Nah.
Oh, cuddle time.
All right. Yeah, she do like cuddle. I kind of like cuddle time sometimes too.
Okay.
Yeah.
She say sometime.
Yeah, I'll be on the edge of the bed with my cover because she be saying it's cold. The 3 things that can make me smile would be that seafood boil that you make.
Okay.
Let me see. It's always stuff you do to make me smile. Talking about that golf bag that we was talking about, and if she could shoot like a 41 something in our league Monday, oh man, I'll be smiling for a couple of weeks.
I got you.
Oh boy, because with our handicap, if she shoot like a 41, it's a wrap.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna be telling you, like I do not understand golf, don't like it. Like I'm like, man, because I love tennis. I was like, so this whole thing about golf is foreign to me. I don't. It seems so boring.
Oh man, my God.
It did at first.
I was the same about dance. I did not want a ballroom. I thought that was old because I come from hip hop, right?
Okay.
I thought it was old until I started understanding it, and then the music that ties into hip hop because that's all we sampled was all of that old music.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
But golf, I just thought it was boring. I thought anybody could do it.
Right.
And then when I learned it, if you play any sports, once you play golf and realize the mental, you got to be mentally there. You got to be focused.
Okay.
The athletic portion of it. Not all them guys look athletic, but you understand why the ones that are athletic, why they do so much better.
Okay.
You'll respect the game a lot more. I put it this way. Don't take a lesson. just go to the driving range and try to hit 20 balls with any club you choose, and you're going to respect it a lot more when you see somebody go shape their shot the way they want it to shape and the distance they hit it when they hitting it 280, 300 yards.
And you know what? Every person I talk to who I respect say the same thing. It was like, Al, you have to go. Like literally, like I'm telling you, you think it's a lot different because I'm athletic. If I ain't running around jumping and it ain't sport to me. Like I'm being honest, because I love tennis. I grew up playing basketball, football, baseball, tennis. And tennis has been my thing. I really wish tennis would have been something I would have dove into a lot sooner than I did. Because and it wasn't hard for me to learn tennis, the hand and eye coordination. Like I took, maybe my wife paid for me a couple lessons.
Yeah.
And then once she did, the coach was like, you don't need to do this no more. Come to my group lessons. You passed this. I caught on so quick.
Yeah.
I caught on so quick. He was like, I'm not having your wife waste no more money. Just come to my group classes. And that's what I've just been doing it ever since. Like when I tell you I love that game, I love that game. But everybody I know who respect, they tell me the exact same thing. They was like, Al, you have to come. It's not what you think. It's not what you think. It's not what you think. You have to come. But I don't know if I want to get into golf because it's expensive. My wife was like, I'm already paying for tennis stuff.
Golf is not as expensive as people think. See, golf, when people think about golf, they think of all the country clubs where you pay $100 a round. You play municipal courses like we playing tomorrow at Lincoln Hills. It's 9 holes, and we might play $15, right?
Okay.
Our first set of clubs before we invested in clubs, we brought them used at Salvation Army, right? And then once we took lessons and figured out, we really like this, that's when we invested in some clubs.
Okay.
My clubs would probably be good for 5 years based on my skill set, right?
Okay.
So and it doesn't have to be expensive. People like me figure out ways to spend more money than they have to. So the club, the equipment, and it can get expensive if you choose to.
Okay.
But 90% of the golfers I know, they either buy used equipment or they buy like the middle tier equipment, and it lasts them forever. And you just play municipal courses, spend $20 or $30 around a couple of times a week, and you're good.
Got you. Okay. All right. Yeah. I heard it was expensive because she said her grandfather played, and it was just like, it could be an expensive sport. But I don't know. I'm gonna get out there at some point.
It's good for networking too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely heard you can make some money out there. You got the people out there. Yeah. So that might be the thing that pulled me out there. The money, the money aspect. The bag is out there.
Oh yeah, the bag. Listen. People golfing to their 90s, right?
Yeah.
And you see all I was golfing the other day at TPC, and it's right by the Lions facility, and we seen a couple of Lions players out there. It's like a lot of athletes get into golf because they can do it well after their career is over. But yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to. You've been, like I said, you about the third, fourth person and said the exact same thing. At some point, I'm gonna have to pull him again because my boy that I play tennis with, he's like a brother to me. He does golfing, So I'm gonna have to get out there. Like the one thing I'm not gonna do, I ain't playing no pickleball. Like it's either tennis or nothing. I'm not doing no pickleball.
Yeah, I get it. I'm
not playing no pickleball, but yeah. All right, here go the last question.
All right.
When was the most challenging time in our relationship? I'm not gonna ask that because we're not gonna worry about that because y'all you don't have to worry about that question. Listen, when I tell you this has been one of my favorite absolute interviews. You guys, like, man, I definitely hope that the people watching this or that are gonna watch this glean something from this because y'all taught me some stuff, like the work that y'all put in prior to getting married, huge. It seems like y'all both intentional about paying attention to the other person's needs. You know what I'm saying? And the whole thing about the financial piece about Reggie, you're the breadwinner in the house, and Sophia, you're a stay-at-home wife. How y'all make that work and not running into those challenges that other couples run into. Y'all did the work up front, you know what I'm saying? And everybody doesn't do that. So you know what I'm saying? Like I think that's huge. Not because I think women can be emasculated as well, just like men are emasculated, and not having her feel that way. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's huge. You guys have, man, I cannot wait to share this with other people. And I really, no, seriously, I'm gonna have y'all back on at some point. Because I'm gonna definitely do a reunion of all the couples that I had on here. We'll revisit it because I'm trying to get to at least 100 subscribers. Okay. I'm still kind of new in this thing right now, so I'm definitely working hard towards that goal. But I definitely want to have you guys come back on. Sophia, I really want to talk to you about this wife school. And if you're okay, I want to do like a live so we can do like a Q&A or whatever, just so women can come on and ask questions, because they need to know, and then I want men to hear this. Like they need to know what to expect.
Yeah.
Why y'all laughing at me?
I'm laughing because like I know so many females where they just love and adore her and they like, oh, y'all so cute in this. But when she go that list she mentioned earlier about being intentional, and they just like, well, like she said, she went through that and was like, I don't know if I'm ready.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people just get frustrated with the process and be like, maybe I don't, or they just settle for less.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I can't have a 6-pack, but at least I got a flat stomach, that type of thing. So
yeah.
Yep.
But you know what? Like I said at the top of the show, remember, revive, renew, restore, and then give those couples who are thinking about getting married a template. Like, this is what it's going to take. Are you ready? And maybe you might not be ready now. You just have to take some time to get ready. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Like you said, Sophia, like when you first did it, you was like, maybe I'm not ready. But it took you some time to get to that spot where you are now. And it's paid off. You know what I'm saying? Like you put in the work. So I definitely want to talk to you about that. And Reggie, you as well. I want to get with you about the mentorship you in with the men's and join myself. Like, as Black men, I think it's important, especially being married. We have to support one another. We really, we really do. And me and my wife had this conversation because I was a mess. I ain't gonna even lie. I used to be, like Sophia said, I used to be a hot mess. I was running the streets and doing all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Adultery. Just I was. I used to be a hot mess, but it was not in my defense. I think it was kind of like the culture that I was raised up in, the environment that I was in. So I only emulated what I saw. Like it was a badge of honor to have different women. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I grew up in. So I didn't have examples of marriage. And my father's side, like all of them, they all have been to jail and just did all kind of crazy stuff. On my mother's side, I thought my uncles and them were lame, like because they ain't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? My dad and his brothers, they was the ones that was about it. You know what I'm saying? Their name was legend in the neighborhood. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to be like. Not like my uncles and I had to tell my uncles and them as we at our last Juneteenth party. I told them, I was like, you know what? I didn't really have a lot of respect for y'all coming up. I thought y'all were lame. You know what I'm saying? My dad and them, they were the cool ones. But I did listen. I took the lessons from both, and it's what's made me into the man that I am today, So yeah, it's just, but I say all that to say, you have to, like you said, you have to be accountable. And it's important, especially as Black men, to have that support system, to have other Black men who are married, who are successful in their marriage and what they have done to be successful, So I think it's important. So I definitely want to make sure that I get with you offline, both of you offline, and tap into both of your support systems. What got you? Because y'all, I'm at a loss for words. I just don't know what else to say. But I do want to say it's been an absolute pleasure. I thank you both for your time. And like I said, I know marriage is a sacred institution, and sharing the intimate details of your marriage, how you deal with those things, and being able. And this was actually definitely a blessing in disguise because of the stuff that you guys have both been through, the wife school, Reggie, the stuff that you've been through. I see why you didn't hesitate and saying, yeah, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? I see why you didn't hesitate and like, yeah, I got you. I do that. Because I've had so many couples I know a lot of married couples, and they was like, nope, my marriage just ain't in that place. Nope. Right. You know, and I get it. Because me and my wife have yet to come on here and share our story. She says she's just not ready. And I understand it. I'm not pushing her to do it because I don't even know if I'm ready. But I respect the couples that have come on here. And when I tell you they have shared their story in intimate detail, because they still want to help other couples. They're together, you know, and they made it through. And that's the thing that's my goal, is just being able to keep marriages together, especially Black marriages. Keep them together. Let them know that if you put in the work, it's going to be rewarding at the end. I think you mentioned that earlier, Reggie. Like, it's going to be rewarding. You both have. It's been absolutely rewarding. Y'all a wonderful couple. And y'all have now become one of my favorite couples, for real. Seriously. No, I ain't serious. Like, the things that y'all have done to secure y'all marriage has been it's been amazing. Like, it really has. So with that, I do. Oh, the only other thing I asked y'all to do, I don't know if I sent y'all the YouTube channel, please subscribe for me. And you know, once I get everything posted or whatever, I'll send y'all the information, and then y'all, you know, can share it with other couples that you know, because I'm sure it'll be inspiring. Because I'm definitely gonna share this. I want this one to go viral because y'all dropped some major gems and nuggets in this interview. So I definitely appreciate it. With that, I definitely want to bid you guys peace, let you go on and get on with your day, because I know my wife and my grandkids upstairs, they're like, what is he down there doing? Right. I've been talking to y'all for about 2 hours now. So I know when I come and say, what was you down there doing? What? But she know when I go over, I enjoy having a conversation with the couples that I'm talking to when I go over. So, and I absolutely enjoy talking to the both of you. I know you, but now I know you on a whole different level now. Whole different level now. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Y'all, I bid y'all peace. Oh, you know what? Normally, would you like to pray us out, Reggie?
Yeah, Sophie.
All right.
Yeah, go on and pray us out.
So she wrote the Christian book, right? I'm very Christian. I pray, I believe in God and all that, but I don't have the eloquent. I don't either. You do. Go ahead. Go
ahead and pray us out, Sophia.
All right. Thank you, Lord God, for this wonderful podcast. Thank you for its creation. Thank you for imparting that into Antonio, Lord. I just thank you for all the couples that have come on here before us and have been able to share and impart their knowledge into the listeners and the viewers of this podcast. I pray that Antonio has more couples that come on and share more than he has time on his calendar to handle. I hope that it reaches couples in a way that helps them make the right decisions, whether they're looking to get married or to stay in their marriage, and that it's just beneficial for everyone involved, and it helps everyone to grow. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. All right.
Sophia, I really appreciate it. Well, y'all go on and enjoy the rest of the day. I'm going to get up here with my grandbabies and enjoy her and see what the rest of the family is up here doing. Because like I said, I know as soon as I come up there and say, my wife will be like, what was you down there doing? But thank you so very much. Like I said, I'm definitely going to reach back out to you guys to revisit you for doing a reunion of a bunch of different couples. But I want to talk to you guys offline about the other things that you got going on. Reggie, I know you said you're a real estate agent. Do you want to give your information for people who may be looking for a home? Definitely go ahead and plug yourself if you like.
Oh, yeah, of course. ReggieIsRealEstate.com. That's the easiest way to find me. That's my website. But I'm on Instagram. You can Google Reginald Perryman, and I should come up on the first page for everything real estate related under my name. That's
wow, you at the top of the list, and you on the number one on the Google search, huh?
Yeah, I've been doing it for a while.
You're doing your thing, though. That's what's up, brother. I'm definitely happy for you that you're doing your thing. Well, with that, I definitely want to bid you guys peace. Again, I appreciate your time today, and y'all have a good one.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay, bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Well, that was Reggie and Sophia Perryman. It was an absolute pleasure talking to them. So if you found value in that video, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Leave your comments below. Definitely would like to get your comments on it. Yeah. So it was a pleasure talking to them. Like, I want to say they dropped a lot of gems, like really a whole lot of gems. So I'm looking forward to definitely talking with them again and talk more with Sophia about this wife school. Like, I'm interested to. I definitely want to do a live with that to get the other women's feedback, women who are looking to become wives or existing wives, and know what they may or may not be doing wrong in their relationship, and not just the wives. I don't want to just put this all on the wives. Husband, we have our responsibilities as well. So I want to talk with Reggie about his the program that he's in, where he has that male support system. So I think that's important, especially as Black men. We definitely need that. But with that, I'll leave you guys in peace. Now, again, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.